See, I got the wrong.
I know. Did you turn this? Y'all turn it off?
We stopped after a while. It needs to be started again.
9:59.
9:59. You got it written down.
Right now.
So we're going to go ahead and reconvene. Thank you guys for waiting. Our executive session was to discuss the agreement with our current attorney, Epi Asasi, also the hiring of a new representation for the city. We're going to reconvene. We're going to move to item F, discuss, consider, take action regarding the position of the city attorney, including termination of current attorney agreement and the hiring of a new city attorney representation firm, David Trujillo, Ream, and Garza. Do I have a motion?
I make a motion regarding the position of the city attorney. How else do I that?
To terminate or
How to
to terminate.
terminate a current attorney agreement. And hiring a new city attorney firm. Okay, hold on. Make a motion regarding the position of the city attorney, including termination of current attorney agreement, Epi Asasi, and hiring a new city attorney firm, Davidson, Torello, Ream, and Garza.
So we have a motion by Councilman Candela to terminate the current attorney agreement with the Asasi Law Firm and hiring the new city attorney firm of David Trujillo, Ream, and Garza. Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
A second by Councilman Falcon. Do you have any discussion?
Well, we had a lot of discussion. It's a tough decision, man.
It is.
It's a tough decision.
And some of the things that we talked about are in what direction the city, want the city to go forward. As you guys know, we've been in the news a lot over the last few weeks. Some of the things that we've discussed as we came in as council members are going to require a lot of, like I say, a lot of legal representation, I would say. I mean, one of the things that we discussed and we even talked about a little bit in the back was about annexing, it was something that.
We can't discuss what we
Okay.
talked about in there.
Okay, I'm sorry.
If not, we would have had it out in the open.
Okay, so
It's a tough decision.
So it is a tough decision. We discussed a lot of different things in the back on how we want to proceed going forward. If there is any more discussion, we're going to go ahead and vote on the motion to terminate the agreement with the Asasi and Asasi Law Firm and hiring of the new city attorneys firm of David Trujillo, Ream, and Garza. Place one.
No, I think we should keep the city attorney as is.
Place two. Place three.
No.
Place four.
Yes.
Place five.
Yes.
So, in lieu of a tie, Ms. Yolanda's not here. We have 2 votes for no and 2 votes for yes. As mayor, I will be the tiebreaker, and I vote yes that we terminate our current agreement and that we move forward with the new city attorney firm of David Trujillo, Ream, and Garza.
But again, under the Texas Local Government Code, doesn't it There had to be a
Requires four.
resolution presented, which wasn't,
Okay,
and then there's gotta be 2/3 majority.
so,
I did want to read something there, and I know, it was tough for Jesse and Elizabeth, and everyone to make this decision. And I just want to make sure that things are done right. Okay? And I'm going to read this provision, and this comes straight out of the government code, and it's dealing with a government type A municipality. Okay? The city attorney is a municipal officer appointed by the council, and there's a process to remove that municipal attorney, that municipal officer. Under 22.077, removal of municipal officers. A, the governing body of the municipality may remove a municipal officer for incompetence, corruption, misconduct, or malfeasance in office after providing that officer with due notice and an opportunity to be heard. That's not the case. I'm not being accused of any of that stuff. Right? And if I was, I'd be entitled to notice and an opportunity to be heard. Okay. The only other one is B. If the governing body is moving to remove me because of lack of competence, and that's what it amounts to, lack of competence. The municipal officer appointed by the governing body, is the governing body may only remove this officer at any time, but the removal is effective only if 2/3 of the elected aldermen vote in favor of a resolution declaring lack of competence. This motion has failed, Mayor, under this statute.
2/3
You need
is.
2/3 is four.
No, that's
of the
only if
elected
you're doing
aldermen.
taxation, I think, isn't it?
No.
No, it's right
No,
here.
it's under the Texas local government code.
Taxation
You just
and
read it,
for
Chair.
special meetings.
Yeah.
Special meetings and also meetings to implement taxes require a 2/3 vote. It's right here. It says, under local government code 22.039,
You got those, you got the.
it is a majority of the number of aldermen established under 22.031, which is the composition of the governing body. Okay, for a municipality to constitute quorum, okay. However, at a called meeting, which this is a called meeting tonight, it's a special meeting, or at a meeting to consider the imposition of taxes. Okay, that's where you're getting confused, Jesse. 2/3 of the number of aldermen established by that constitution will constitute a quorum. So you had a quorum tonight because you got 4 out of the 5. So you got your quorum. But in removing the officers, you've got to have 2/3 of the aldermen voting in favor of a resolution.
okay.
Right here, you got 2 and 2. Okay, so that motion has failed.
Okay.
So you all need to consider that. And
So-
that's where I am.
For my own sake and education in the process, your position is that it's 2/3 of all office holders, not those present for the meeting,
It's 2/3
of those
of the aldermen.
holding office as opposed to 2/3 of those present and voting.
No, sir. It's 4 individuals, right? You got to have 2/3. That's what it's called, of the aldermen elected. That's what it says here.
Mhm.
The removal is effective only if 2/3 of the elected aldermen vote in favor of resolution.
That's fine. That's fine. I'm seeking to understand.
And again, I mean, I just feel that everything was done all of a sudden. Again, there's no resolution that was presented either.
And another thing that kind of threw me by surprise, I mean, when you all decided to go into executive session, if you all knew ahead of time that you were going to be interviewing Garza, Reem, and Troilo, then that should have been put on the agenda, go into executive session. I didn't know who they were or what they were gonna go do back in there, all right? But the only thing that was put on the agenda to go back into executive session was to discuss my agreement,
Okay.
not to take someone else back in there. I mean, I don't know who prepared your agenda, but certainly I mean, that was done incorrectly.
And I agree because there's only certain items that you can go under executive session, and it's under personnel. Epi Sassi is already personnel. He's a municipal officer, not the other attorneys that you were taking.
So we will, I guess in this instance, we will go ahead and revisit this. Maybe this would have been something that could have been discussed in the executive session. Broken out. If you would have explained that to us in there, we could have tabled it. It was explained by, so,
If we would explain it, would have been in a situation, correct?
Mayor, I have another question though. This was on the agenda previously, so if these concerns of his were already something that he was thinking about, maybe before Jesse tabled the last one, that would have been something to discuss also. And if phase one had an issue with how the agenda was written, don't y'all get the agenda prior to this meeting? So that would have been something to discuss with whoever the agenda writer is, or he also gets the agenda as well. So I would just think, instead of wasting everybody's time, when y'all have a discrepancy on an agenda that y'all received prior to today, maybe it would be a good idea to communicate your concerns before tonight.
agreed, and I agree with you on that matter. I think that we as a team and we as a council, including our attorney, should work together. I mean, you guys know, and I have no quorum with saying that I messed up if I messed up. But I also depend on the experienced people here to let me know in advance before we come to the public forum and tell me, you know, hey, you messed up, you know, and that's fine. I mean, like I said, if it's something that was done inappropriately, you know, if there's some other steps that need to be taken, that's fine. You know, I admit that I don't know if the way it was done, the way our attorney read it, it appears that, you know, we may have done something that, you know, incorrectly, and we'll try to correct that in the future. But I depend, you know, on my city attorney. I depend on the more experienced council members here to guide me. But if we're going to wait until we're in a public forum to try to,
See, it just embarrassed me
you
in front of
know,
my friend here, in front of everybody, and then we all say, hey, wait,
You know,
it's illegal. You know?
then, you know, then that's okay.
But
If,
maybe that's
I mean-
just proof that you need, that some of your council people are not really wanting to work together. Because that's what it looks like from our perspective.
They had this already planned already.
No, we
I mean-
didn't have it. No, hold on. You're gonna open that can, I'm gonna open that can. Because we didn't know them back there. But a couple of y'all knew who they were. I didn't know who they were. I had no idea who
Yes,
they
you
were.
did. You-
I
you-
had no idea they were gonna
You
go back
had,
there.
you have,
Okay.
I had
Okay,
no
hey.
idea they were gonna go back there.
that's okay. So
No, I didn't have that.
it's,
Isn't it on the agenda?
you
It's
guys,
not on the
you got,
agenda.
hold on, unless you get called on, unless you get called on, we don't need to be having these arguments. These city councils are not gonna be run like this. If we did something and we didn't follow some rules, that's fine, you know. I hope that in the future, we don't wait until we're sitting here to try to make anybody look, wrong, or try to, deface somebody. That's something that I have never done. Since I sat in this seat right here, I have never sat here and pointed a finger at anybody for any of the wrongdoings over the last 6 and 7 years, ever. And for something like this not to have been brought up to me up front before this, so maybe we could have tabled the situation. Maybe back there, it could have been brought up and we could have tabled it when we came back out. That I have to say, upsets me. Because if this was where we were going, then we should have addressed it back there. We could have stepped out and we could have tabled it right here before we even got into the vote. So if we did something inappropriately, then we did. If we haven't met the criteria there, I'm not sure exactly what the next steps are. I will refer to our city attorney what the next steps are.
I would imagine that I'm gonna be placed back on the agenda, and again, you have 2/3 of the aldermen voting in favor of resolution.
So how do we close the meeting
Well, you know
today?
what, Mayor? I think that he
Well-
read something about incompetent, when he just proved it, because he knew that he was on the agenda and did not respond to that as the attorney. That's being incompetent.
So how do we move forward today with this?
What, your motion, the motion failed.
Okay,
You move forward with the rest of your agenda.
okay,
And then if you want to make another call meeting.
Put it back on.
okay,
go through
so.
the same process.
So the motion fails for not, can I have that so I can read it right there? Did you highlight it?
And it's the same thing that was brought to your attention by council back in executive session, and it was discussed.
He's not our legal counsel. He's just,
It doesn't matter with my 20.
but if we're going to pursue this and go to our city council members for legal advice, hey, let's move on. Unless you get called on, we don't need anybody making any comments. So, according to section 22.077, remove of municipal officers, we apparently didn't, what was the term?
I thought you wanted to read it.
The governing body of the municipality may remove a municipal officer for incompetency, corruption, misconduct, and malfeasance in office after providing the officer with due notice and an opportunity to be heard. If the governing body lacks confidence in a municipal officer appointed by the governing body may remove the officer at any time. The removal is effective only if 2/3 of the elected aldermen vote in favor of the resolution declaring a lack of confidence. And apparently we did not meet. So the motion has failed. We will do some more research and then move on from there. Thank you.
And Mayor, if I may, if it's all right, we'll go ahead and head out.
Yes, sir.
Back to San Antonio.
Yes.
But thank you all for taking the time to interview, and if we can be of service, Zach and I are more than happy to come back if you all decide you want to take it up.
Okay.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you.
EDC would be good.
We need to
take care.
Thank you, sir.
Be careful. Be safe on the road.
So we're going to move on to item G, discuss, consider, and action regarding authorization to allow the mayor pro tem Jesse Falcone to activate an EDC debit card with prior approval with the mayor to use such a card for appropriate purposes.
I'll make a motion.
We have a motion by Councilman Falcone to approve the authorization to allow the mayor pro tem to activate the EDC debit card. Do I hear a second? Second by Alderman Candela. Any discussion?
Reasons? Reasons?
Oh, just like we discussed last time, like we go, we got two people going to the convention over there. Credit card, remember, we gotta get the rules, that's all. And stuff like, for Halloween, hey, I need this or a can or something, we can do with them. And just, also accounting. That's all.
I think we should put a cap on it though.
Sure.
Like,
Whatever
I
you
don't
want.
have a problem with.
Well, I think the bank,
We have a cap?
I think the bank has a couple.
I think it's automatically got a cap.
But we can put one on, I don't mind.
think that we need a cap. It's not like if you're gonna go.
I mean, they've got one.
You do need a cap though.
What do you want, five?
I think five is a standard.
I mean,
Five
it's up to you
thousand?
guys, I mean, I'm easy.
5,000?
Wait. How about what about hotel rooms? Did we
But for
get,
example, like you saying Halloween stuff, that should be discussed in EDC.
Yeah.
And we could say, Jesse, go ahead and
Okay.
spend 4,999,
Okay.
or
I think that the cap should be put by the EDC board. I don't think that that should be something that we discuss here. I think this is just approval. The card will be kept at City Hall.
Correct.
It won't be something that the mayor pro tem or whoever, in the future is at the EDC carrying around in their pocket. I mean, matter of fact, I think Hilda offered me a city credit card, city debit card. I told her, nope, I don't want it.
I
So
just like
uh,
that it would separate all the expenditures between
Yeah.
the city and EDC.
I think it's really difficult when they have something like a training to go to or something. They got to get hotels. Usually, one of the EDC members puts it on their credit card, and then we have to reimburse them. Things like that. I think this will really help with the accounting purposes. So any further discussion? So we're going to vote on the motion to authorize and allow Mayor Pro Tem Jesse Falcone to activate the EDC card. Place 1.
yes.
Place 3,
Yes.
4,
Yes.
place 5. Motion's passed. No motion carries.
Can we add the vice president?
I think so. We can.
Yeah, sure.
Whose name's on the card?
Jesse's.
But we can, I go tomorrow. I can do, I go tomorrow.
It's always good, because if you're not
Sure.
there.
Oh, no, how about we put the mayor?
Oh, you could.
Yeah, but. if
Not
it's
for
a
the,
DC
not for the
Not for the
EDC.
EDC.
If it's a DC, EDC stuff,
Who's the treasurer?
yeah, but.
Treasurer.
Whoever
he's
you
the vice
want.
President.
Who do you want? You want the treasurer? I think treasurer probably, isn't it?
I think treasurer would be.
That's fine.
Okay, just put treasurer también.
Just have somebody just in case if you're not there. That's
Sure.
all I'm saying.
Because she always checks the statements, yeah.
So we're going to move on
Okay,
to
good.
item 4, items for discussion only. This item A, City Council workshop for long-range planning. This is something that some of the other cities do every year. They have a workshop. Basically, they kind of get together. Usually it's somewhere in the area away from City Hall, away from all this, and kind of sit down and start talking about, long-range plans, budget. We start talking a little bit about what we want to see, the next year, the upcoming year. It just kind of gives us an opportunity to hopefully build some friendships, so we can work together better. So we don't have, so we can move forward in a more positive manner, I guess. So there's not so much, going around and trying to do things on your own. We as a council can kind of come together and say, these are the projects, maybe even have some council members volunteer and be assigned to take over some of these projects. I think it's a good idea to kind of do it. Some of the other cities do it. Financially, I don't know where we'll be come next year, kind of the spring of next year, but we'll see if we something that we can even afford to do. But I think it would be a great idea. Any other discussion? Okay. So we're going to move on to item B, the city administrator secretary. We just kind of finished up. We had to combine the city administrator's duties with the city secretaries. I think that when the previous council approved the city administrator's position, they still had a city secretary at the time, so it was 2 separate positions. The goal is to have one position. City administrator will be both city administrator and city secretary. So we kind of had to make sure that the job description reflected those duties. So hopefully we'll be posting that up here pretty quick.
Is that already done?
No,
No, okay.
no. So we just finished up kind of finalizing the job description to make sure that all the
Okay.
duties that needed to be in there were done. So hopefully we'll be posting that here in the next week or so. So we can hopefully start getting some candidates to interview. I think Councilman Domingo is going to take part in the interviewing process as well. Yes, also Mayor Pro Tem Falcone will also participate. Does any have any questions or anything on that?
Or perhaps the calendar.
I'm sorry?
You're going to post the position and it's going to be open for X amount of time,
Right.
usually 3-4 weeks at a minimum, would be my guess. And then you would be going through the process of reviewing the applicants first pass. And that process would probably take 2 weeks before you begin to come up with who you're going to interview with.
Okay.
So that type of thing is something that you need to consider outlining in
Right.
terms of what your calendar is. Because then you're gonna get into the holiday season, and that's a tough time for job interview.
Yeah.
I was just gonna ask the question, so, because a lot of the legwork has been done already, right? No?
It's just a lot of extra benefits to set the
Mhm. Okay.
which is the administrator or secretary, which one is it?
Well, technically, it's the city secretary that. Before that's known as the administrator. Oh, yeah, it's technically city secretary, because by law, you gotta have a city secretary. But we can even say administrator. Yes,
As long as it has the record management
yes.
designation, then that's,
And y'all did it right already, like that. It wasn't converted to city manager,
It was not?
basically.
No, it
No, it
was
never
city
was. It can't be.
No, it
administrator.
was, it can't be.
Okay.
That has to go to public.
Yeah, yeah, so that one, yeah.
But are we gonna interview as a panel?
I think it's a panel.
I mean, I don't know, do we violate the quorum?
No, because you just advertised.
post it.
You
Okay,
posted that we're gonna advertise. You're gonna post on there 2 or more council might be present. At that
interviews?
time, and that's it, you do interview, but we've always done it as a panel.
Interview in executive session.
well, I don't know, when was the last time y'all hired a city secretary or a city administrator?
Appointed within?
So I don't think it's ever done as a panel,
Well, we have done it as a panel, but we
you know,
selected within.
so,
We selected within, but we did.
In the panel.
I don't know about a quorum, but where I work, we do it by panel.
yeah,
But I don't know about it being issue with the quorum and stuff.
No, as long as you post.
No, unless you post it on agenda, hey, we're gonna have,
Well, what does the attorney say? Doesn't he know the rules?
I just told him, if you were listening,
what is it?
I can hear you,
if
obviously.
you were listening.
So what is it over here?
I told him
So what is it?
that what you do, you post it on the agenda and you take him into executive session and that's where you guys can interview
Okay,
as a panel.
okay,
You can't make any decisions back there. If I need to go
bring
further,
them back to here.
bring it back on the agenda and take action out here.
Right.
that's
So if we're gonna-
directed to someone.
so if we're gonna interview 8 applicants,
Mhm.
I mean, according to what I've read, as far as the resolution or whatever it was, that the mayor will choose, like, it's his or her groups of people to consider. Say we get 8 applicants, I can interview those 8 individually and then bring it to 3, break it down to 3, and then those 3 will come to council?
I haven't read that ordinance or resolution, but if you have it, let me review it, and if that's what it says, and then certainly you could do that if that's what that resolution is doing.
Okay.
Remember,
I don't
it's a
think there is
mayor.
no
I
resolution.
don't, I don't think.
Well, the power of the mayor,
No.
I think there's in the power of the mayor,
A type-based municipality, a mayor only has a power that's conferred upon it by the council.
right? And there was
If there's
a,
resolution giving the mayor that power, then you can do that, right? But that's what I'm saying, I need to see that resolution.
yeah, I think it's
Say that it is.
426, I think, or 4 something. It's the power of the mayor. I think it says something in there about interviewing and then presenting the final candidates.
Well, man, I hate to say it, but transparency, you kind of want
Yeah.
all of us, yeah, how you just said,
So-
all of us.
Yeah, but if we have 10 or 12 people being interviewed, we can't do it all in one of these. We need to
No.
isolate, you
Yeah,
know, the
yeah.
3.
What you do is if they don't meet the qualifications, you just put them to the side. And then you tell us, I felt that they didn't meet the qualifications and that therefore I eliminated them. And then you still let us see it That way we know that you weren't favoring somebody,
Yeah.
just.
Oh, well, I'll give you the list of the candidates that come in. I mean, you'll see all the list. And I'll just give my,
Yeah.
recommendations, my
I
final
mean,
3 or
I'm
4.
okay, I'm okay with what the mayor's saying. I mean, he's gonna be the one working with the person closer than any of one of us. I mean, I'm okay with him taking, if there's 15 applicants, him looking at it and say, yeah, I think these are the best 5,
Yeah,
and then bringing them to us. I'm okay with that.
yeah.
Because he's gonna be working with them closer with that person than any one of us.
It'll be less for us to interview.
There has to be a resolution giving him that authority.
So can we
Because
put
right
one,
now,
we'll
even
put
though
one in?
you're okay with it, this is not an action item. It's only for discussion.
Okay,
Yeah, there
Okay.
is,
You won't be able to do that
okay,
unless there's a resolution.
okay, if there's not, we'll
Or
put a one in next meeting.
Just giving him that
Okay.
that authority.
To the final 5 or.
Yeah.
final 10.
Okay.
Mayor, I have a question for council,
Yes.
please. There's been references to needing to look at the resolutions and ordinances. Do you have a complete collection of the city's resolutions and ordinances?
I have a copy of the, what do you call it, the Unicode.
Which was last updated?
I have a very old one that probably Jesse has. We probably have the same one.
Everybody say what?
And the only
Yellow
reason I
paper?
brought
Yeah.
that up-
Well, because
I'm telling you, the only
it's
reason
been
I brought that-
frustrating for the last 2
only reason
months.
I brought that up is because the mayor said there's a resolution that gives you
Yeah.
that authority. That's why I brought it up.
Yeah.
So I just-
Let's say, Epi,
Resolution, bring it to me,
let's,
and I'll look at it.
I know people are upset right now because of the whole issue with trying to, bring in a new attorney, but let's not be disrespectful to let's not be disrespectful to our community and to our financial advisor, okay? So let's just stay let me finish my sentence. I'm not asking for a response or anything. Let's just stay professional. Let's move on. So we will see if I know there's an ordinance that directs the power of the mayor. I'm trying to look on my phone here. I know Janie gave it to me when I first came on, and I will forward that to our attorney so he can review it, and I will also forward it to the other council members. I will CC the council members, and we'll see if that's something that, as mayor, we do have 10 qualified applicants. Maybe I can weed them down to 3 or 4,
Yeah.
and then out of those 3 or 4, the council can decide on the final, because we've never done this. Like Mr. Huerta, Councilman Huerta just said, we usually hire from within.
Yeah.
So this is the first time that we're going to try to bring
Several people.
people from the outside to come and take this position. So I will look for that ordinance and then forward it for review. Anything else here? Reports. Section 4 reports. Council member place 1, you got any?
I just, that leak, I know that you hired a contractor.
Correct.
Are we ever gonna get our water department back up and running? 2 or
That's,
3 people?
yeah, that's the goal.
Okay, the reason
Yeah.
I'm saying is because you sent us an email that it was $3,800, right? But that's a lot of money. $3,800 is a lot of money for that leak. That leak could have cost about $2,000, about $1,900. Those clamps, did they bring them or we brought them?
They used one of theirs and we had one.
Okay. Each clamp is
So-
about $150.
Yeah, but they had to cut the metal pipe.
That's
They had
part
to
of it.
cut the metal pipe. They brought in their own excavator because they didn't want to use our excavator because they're only going to use their equipment. So they had to bring in their own excavator. They were there till 12:30 at night. It was after hours on a weekend. So if you're able to find an emergency contact
During the
On a-
Canelo fight.
during the Canelo fight on a Saturday evening to come out in a matter of probably 30 minutes. They were out there and digging up the ground. And I mean, this thing was shooting. Some of y'all saw the pictures. It was shooting about 20 feet in the air. Debris was flying. I mean, it was literally shooting asphalt up into the air about 20 feet. I'm hoping that it didn't hit um, Bonnie's house, but it was shooting concrete and asphalt up into the air about 20 feet. So, if we can find somebody who can give us a quote and say, if you have to call us after hours, we'll come out for this much. That would be fantastic. But these people were quick. Where they were able to isolate. Our guys were looking at shutting the whole city down because they didn't know where the cutoffs were. They were able to look at our maps and find where the cutoffs were and isolate that area without having to cut the whole city down. You can just imagine if we would have had to cut the whole city water in the middle of the Canelo fight. I'll be honest. Hey, I called my wife and told her, tell mom and you need to take a shower because we're getting ready to cut the water off, and put some water in a bucket for me so I could take a bath when I get home. And luckily these guys were able to work with our maintenance guys and cut off and isolate this. So, but yeah, it was $3,800, but like I said, they worked, I think they came out around 10 o'clock is when it was reported. And when it was reported to me, it was just water on the street. And by the time I put my shoes on and put some sweats on and headed out there, it was Niagara Falls. I mean, not Niagara Falls, but Old Faithful. I mean, it was shooting up into the air. And like I said, it was spewing asphalt and dirt and everything. So anything else? Place 3?
Are we still in a hiring freeze?
We are right now. I mean, we're going to start, like I said, we're going to start looking for Janie replacement.
Lift it?
Yeah, we're going to go ahead and lift that up here and start looking at bringing in Janie's replacement for
In the
sure.
water department.
We're going to start looking at bringing in somebody for the water department, also for the wastewater, somebody who has a license for water and wastewater. And we have a few people that are interested that are retired from other cities.
Okay.
So,
Good deal.
place 4?
Yes, my turn.
Yes.
Okay, since we're gonna have the Halloween in the park, some of the lights in the park are not working. Billy, do you know who did the cellular lights that we call and get those? Do you recall the vendor?
I think Hilda knows of it.
You know the vendor? Because some of them ain't working, so.
It's like 3 of them, right?
Yeah.
It's
So
cars.
you saw that,
That's
yeah.
all.
So that, and maybe get we talked to AEP, get those lights around there working.
Okay.
And, hey, I'm still.
It's going back to a prior question, I guess.
We're probably gonna have an EDC meeting probably the week after TML. So we're looking at that Thursday after TML, whatever that is. What is that, 19th? The 12th. The 12th. We'll probably shoot for a 12, Billy.
Okay.
So I'll send it out in case. And we're gonna have a lot of stuff on that agenda too, so. That's about it.
Can I ask him a question on EDC?
Yeah.
No, sure.
Yeah.
So, I don't know if you recall, y'all had put a freeze on some projects because there's a possibility we might get a loan from you. Do you remember
We
that?
didn't put a freeze.
You did?
No. we
Okay.
never-
It was
we didn't-
just council.
Because we had this, we just kind of like,
So you're gonna put those back on?
oh, yeah, yeah,
You
yeah,
got
oh,
it?
yeah.
Okay.
That's okay, we got like 15,
Okay.
we got all the, when you're talking about, oh, yeah,
Okay.
And then- yeah.
Yeah.
There's like 8 or 9
Yeah,
stuff
2
there.
of them called me and I said,
No.
I don't know, but.
Give me
I'll
the
find
number,
out.
give me the stuff, yeah.
Okay.
And we'll give them a week to get all their paperwork stuff. Yeah.
Okay, sure.
I actually
Okay.
have a question with the ditch behind Flournoy.
Okay.
Who is the one who cuts where south is in the back?
Where south is in the back.
Where?
Oh, Odom South?
Yes.
I'm not sure who cuts back there.
Is it the drainage district? I mean,
I've never seen the drainage district out there. I'll have to find out because is it growing already?
it was never cut.
Oh, okay.
The city cuts it, our guys.
Behind Odom South.
Yeah, that ditch,
They're, okay, look, they're the
Middlebrook.
city guys.
Oh, okay.
Meadowbrook.
Meadowbrook?
Meadowbrook,
Oh, behind your neighborhood?
yeah.
Okay. then.
Nobody cuts behind my neighborhood.
Yeah. Well,
but
it's always been
behind
full of
the
water.
south, Yeah,
Okay.
it's,
Okay.
I just think that it needs the same attention that everything else.
Okay.
You mean Odom South?
Yeah.
Oh, the drainage district is.
I was gonna say, drainage
Drainage
So
district.
if they,
district, yeah.
if they go out that way, why can't they?
Because
just-
it's not, That's the neighborhood.
Okay.
Mr. Webb, I think, gave him, remember he gave him that easement to cut?
Yeah, but she's not talking about behind.
No, she's talking about owing south.
I'm talking about, no, I'm talking about
Or she
where,
lives.
where Mr. Webb, the way it's cut and
That's-
everything. I'm
that's-
talking
that's
about
drainage.
behind-
No, that's a
but,
drainage
yes,
district.
drainage.
Okay, but I'm,
Okay.
so I'm talking now behind my house.
Oh,
How come
yeah,
that would
yeah.
just get-
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, is it rolling up again? Well, they had kind of, well, they kind of decided kind of for a little while, but, you know, then of course the water line broke and then got flooded again, so how thoughtful. Yeah, well, they've been busy plugging up water.
What happened today, we really need to work together. It was very embarrassing that we are allowed that previously. I think that if something's been put on the agenda and it's a mistake, I think that it needs to be brought to either your attention, Mayor, or somebody's attention, so we don't have to come out and do this, because that is one of the things that we said when we all got here. We wanted to work together.
And on that note, Mayor, I like paper. I like paper. Like I said, hey, like I said, I
Talking
like
about
paper.
the Texas local government code, I'm sorry that it does state that councilmen should get it in their hands.
Because we would have had all this
Or you
in our,
deliver
yeah.
it in their doorstep.
Yeah, well, I
That's
said,
just the way.
and that's just, it's a mistake, but
Well, I mean,
Paper,
and I'll go back to our expenses for August were $28,000 versus $200,000. I'm not saying that the paper was that big of an issue,
he's the paper
But-
man.
but we were trying to cut discretionary spending to get us through the rest of the fiscal year. That was one of the things that we were looking at trying to save. Now that the new year's up, you know what? If I got to print out 40 pages of papers for council meetings for each member and have one of our city employees go out on the city car and drive around town and spend 45 minutes
Well, you know
dropping
what?
them off, then that's what we'll do. So we can meet the government code.
Well, I
So,
will even take responsibility to come pick them up and go drop them off to everybody.
well, that would be great. Or maybe we
I
can
will-
just
I
have
will
them
do
at
that.
City Hall for everyone to pick
Oh,
up.
yeah,
okay with
yeah,
that.
and then
So
it's
we will
our
have-
responsibility to go, it's our responsibility to go pick them.
Hand deliver it to us.
Yeah.
So we will have
Yeah, I'll
that
go pick mine up.
going forward. We'll just have them there at City Hall in the packets and they can pick them up.
And if we have any questions, we can ask.
Right.
So-
Okay, going back to that, I know when you sent it to us, it said regular meeting. I was the one that called Hilda to tell her, hey, change it. It's tell the mayor to change it because it's not a regular meeting. Regular meeting is the first Tuesday of the month, so.
Right.
See, little things like that, that's what we need.
Right.
I did, yeah.
We need to be a little bit more cooperating. And we all talk about transparency, but then we get here and we do stuff like this, you know.
It's 10 o'clock, man, we gotta go to sleep. That's just
So,
kidding.
I want just let you guys know, we're still doing our internal investigation, trying to find out where some of the funds have gone. I know that we found, you know, some CDs that were cashed going all the way back to 2017, almost over $1 million in CDs that were cashed from 2017 to 2019. We're trying to find out what that money went to, what, you know, those expenses, what were the expenses that we needed to cash $1.6 million in CDs during that time. So, like I said, I assure you, we're going to continue to look. We're looking for minutes. We're looking for contractors that may have worked during that time, see what we spent on different contractors. And so we're not done. We still have a lot to do. And again, I want to apologize to the community for what just happened here, because that's not the way I want these city council meetings to be run. And I assure you going forward that we're not going to allow that to happen. We're not going to allow, I don't want the community to be disrespectful to anybody up here, but I don't want anybody up here to be disrespectful to you, to each other. So again, I apologize for what happened here tonight, and I'm going to make sure that that doesn't happen going forward. So do I have a motion to adjourn?
Make a motion.
Motion by Mr. Councilman Dominguez, second by Councilman Candela. Means adjourned. I always want to say Acevedo. Sorry, ma'am. I've known you for Acevedo forever. No, thank you.